Okay. And Kathleen, saving throw.
15.
15. Nothing happens.
By the way, during a night, while I'm lying there, can I say, "Do you hear me, Orb?" And then it doesn't say anything, and I cry and feel so lonely.
I'll give you a hug, Denora.
Aww.
I'm giving him out like candy tonight.
You come up upon a knoll, a hill, and you see Watchman's North over the hill. You notice that there is not too much activity here, but the defenses here seem to be a little beefed up. You do see John and Dother. You see what you recognize as a Chain Devil patrolling around the perimeter of Watchman's North. And you also see gnolls inside Watchman's North.
Could we handle a Chain Devil? One on its own.
The last one we faced was impossible.
Yeah, impossible.
It wasn't impossible. Which way was it round? The dragon hit us like hell, but it hit us really easily, but didn't do much damage. But the Chain Devil struggled to hit us, but when it did, it wouldn't annihilate you.
And it was also impossible to hit.
Yeah, and it had really high defenses.
Well, we'll have to do what we can to stack the advantage on our end as much as possible, I suppose.
What time of the day is it?
This is early evening.
Early evening. If we want to let it get dark, perhaps Greg can try infiltrating the tower again and
plant some explosives.
We know what that happens when we attack that orb.
Perhaps. I don't know if doing that will cause me to, become visible, and if that happens, then there's a good chance I'm going to be stuck in the middle, but...
The orb speaks up to you and says, if you are going to move things around and not simply move through or around them, then you and I will become very visible very quickly.
Yeah, I suspect the better... I suspect we are just... If I'm going to go in there, it's merely going to be to walk around and figure out what we have in terms of enemies in there. Otherwise, we could just try to set up an assault and hopefully draw them so that they can't attack us all at once. I'm not sure how everyone feels about that, but the last time we dealt with one of these towers, we were able to isolate them pretty decently from afar. So,
does anyone know how strong a Chain Devil is supposed to be?
From stories that Dother and John tell you, they were able to take out an entire regiment of men on their own.
We need to figure out a way to get around the Chain Devil.
From what you can see, he seems to be patrolling in a regular pattern around the tower.
Are you suggesting that we try to rush in when he's on the other side and
if
destroy?
We get into the tower without him seeing,
then we have the gnolls to deal with in there.
Yeah, well, the gnolls we can handle. It's more the Chain Devil where we can get in without alerting him.
The only issue with that is that there's only one way in, and the Chain Devil's blocking it. We're going to be stuck in there with the orb and with the Chain Devil.
If we blow the tower, then the Chain Devil may be weakened anyway.
Indeed. Just if we can
take out the orb and get out of the tower, then the orb will crash down, and I think the Chain Devil will be caught in the blast.
Probably,
but still going to be risky. It's going to be a risky maneuver to get in there and out without the Chain Devil blocking our way.
Let's wait. So. Let's have the cover of night, have Greg go in undercover, and see if we can find out what numbers we're dealing with. Because we need to remember there's also the chance that teleportation thing will work this time, and he could send forces in.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure his tower is, the same thing as last time.
Very well. I'll prepare myself to do some reconnaissance in there.
Okay, so we're going to wait out till the night.
Okay, while you're preparing yourself, Greg, Denora, You're starting to see weird things in front of you. It's as if you're starting to see bodies in front of you, but they're not actually bodies. It's as if you've got some sort of minor heat vision going on.
And where are the bodies situated?
They're pretty much your allies, you suspect.
It's like you can start sensing where we are every now and again.
I reach my hand out in front of my face to make sure.
Yeah, you're touching the shoulder of Kathleen right now, and it seems to be the outline seems to match.
Can I help you, Denora?
I can sense you.
Sense all of us. Oh, shit,
Yes.
You're serious. Oh, wow, cool.
The orb speaks up to you, Denora, and says, "I'm not entirely heartless. I just take a while to get warmed up to my new host. It'll take a while for the effect to fully reach, but eventually you'll understand how the old lady was able to see your friend."
I thank you for at least talking.
And it's silent.
Nobody likes me.
Now you're just milking it.
Okay.
Jerk.
Alright, is it nightfall enough yet for me to advance on in?
Yeah.
Alright. Umbral curtain time as I make sure I'm nicely in the shadows.
The shadows encompass you and you disappear into the night. You walk forward and you notice that the Chain Devil seems to be in a very regular, very standard pattern of walking around the tower. You slide through the door and into the tower, and this is exactly what you've come to expect from the other tower, only you count there to be about 4, maybe 5 gnolls here inside the tower. They're not joking around or laughing or being idiots as the other ones were at the last tower. These guys seem to be extremely serious and extremely prepared. They are wielding great axes, and they have swords strapped to their backs as well. There's one gnoll in particular you notice near the top of the at the bottom of the tower. He seems to be wielding quite a vicious-looking axe, and he seems to have a bit of a height advantage over the other gnolls. When he barks, the other gnolls listen. At the top is the orb again that you've come to expect, bolted into place. Mm-hmm. And on the bottom is the same large electrical box that seems to be shooting off electricity.
If I go through the trapdoor at the top of the tower, do I notice anyone at the very top of the
There is
top?
nothing at the top, no.
Okay, so there's...
Hold on. Is there anything at the top, the orb?
No, the orb's at the top, but he's talking about above the trapdoor at the top of the tower on the roof.
Yeah, on the roof.
Okay.
Okay, so the orb's in there. We have, 4 gnolls plus their
Plus
head.
a leader, plus the Chain Devil outside.
Okay. All right. After doing that little bit of search around, I exit out of the tower, return back to the party, and become visible again to them all, dusting my shoulders off a little bit. Well, we got some good news and some bad news.
Bad news first.
The bad news is that there's a Chain Devil, there's gnolls that seem to be even more equipped and ready for it, and an even bigger gnoll that seems to be their leader that is making sure that they're ready for any attack.
Okay.
The good news is that there's no one at the top of the tower like that one demon we dealt with at the south tower, so there's only about 6 foes.
So the top of the tower has nobody on it.
Right. There's a teleportation device at the basement that seems to be just as it is. In fact, the entire tower looks identical to the south tower, with the difference being that there is the gnolls in the inside. Now, so this means we have 2 options. We can lure the Chain Devil and try to take him out, and do so before the gnolls can come after us, or wait for the Chain Devil to be on the other side of the tower, rush in and take on the gnolls and get out before the Chain Devil can intercept us. So, those seem to be our options. Any opinions, any feelings on that? I know you don't like either option, Kathleen, but it's like we either...
So can I do a quick history check to see if I remember how the orb was suspended?
I can tell you it's suspended the exact same. Yeah, it's suspended the same way. I mean, we could take it down through similar methods, but that takes time and concentration.
Well, no, I was thinking, is it like hanging from? I can't remember. Was it hanging from the ceiling, or is it like in a cradle?
It was hanging from the ceiling, but it had prongs that were holding it up.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a support structure around. Basically, the last time we took it down, we needed a bit of concentration and time, which we won't have if we try to rush in and out while leaving adversaries alive during part of the process. So we either try to go about killing everyone before we take out the orb, or we try to take out the orb mid-combat and make sure that no one's caught in the blast.
Dother, didn't you seemed like you had a plan?
What?
You seemed to suggest having a plan earlier.
I did?
You seemed to be rather curious about the top not having any guards.
Well, I guess if we could try getting on top of the tower, we would have another way in that would let us get past the chain devil, but...
The idea you're suggesting that Kathleen flies into the top of the tower.
I'm not even sure she'd be able to. Maybe it's too high for
her. Well, as the DM, my right wing's good enough that I'm able to sustain flight now.
Mm-hmm. You can hover.
Yeah, I could try flying up to the top.
My only issue with that is that we'd be sending you in solo, and we'd be split up enough that if something went wrong, if something went bad for you, Kathleen, I don't think I could help you easily.
If you could stealth to the top in the trapdoor, put one alchemical fire at the base, one at the top, and then fly back out.
At the base of the tower?
No, the base of the support of the power source.
Oh, you're talking about in the support structure of the orb. Well, that's possible, but still risky. I mean, that's...
Let's have that taking on head first.
I'm not opposed to it.
I have the 2 alchemy fire flasks right here. If you want to take them, Kathleen. If anything, you could fly up and plant something on there while we're fighting, and then we can try to hit it and ignite it while we run away. That's another option.
Dother?
What if you were to just chuck the grenade inside from the top of the tower?
Alchemist fire is not necessarily a grenade.
I
mean, I could toss
it's like
it
a Molotov almost.
Well, yeah.
I could try tossing it like that, but I think it might be more discreet. If there's no one in that room, as you said,
no one on the roof. Oh, there's people in the room with the orb because the tower is just one large room that goes up a flight of stairs, and then at the top near the trapdoor, the orb is being suspended there. So if you go in there, you're going to be walking into at least 4 gnolls, if not 5. If they are not looking up at you, they're going to be none the wiser. But if one's on the stairwell or if one's looking up there, you're going to be caught immediately.
What kind of structure is the roof made out of? What kind of material? Wood.
You do have the best stealth check out of any of this.
If it's wood, then we can
set fire to the roof.
The alchemist fire and set fire to the roof.
And then that could possibly take a support structure, or at least distract some of the people so that we could do an attack from the ground. But
I'm not opposed to it.
That seems like one of our better ideas, especially. Can I recall back? Is the structure that's holding the orb in the wood? Like, does it go into the wood structure itself, or does it go into stone?
No, it goes into the brick.
So
there's a brick. Brick. It's obsidian. There's an obsidian cross patch work on the roof. Then the wood fits between that, and the orb itself is anchored into the obsidian.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, you leading people up there and leading them into a fire would be one option, but it may not take care of the orb. So I think I think we might end up having to fight these folks to some degree, almost regardless.
Well, if we set fire to it, that might distract the chain devil.
It might. But that's on the. But that would be the roof, and he's outside. If anything, will distract the gnolls.
Oh, can't we try attacking the orb?